Traveling with your friends to a different country is super exciting. Not only you get to spend time with the people you enjoy hanging around with, but also discover different adventures and create unforgettable memories. Hello everyone, let's investigate here. Let's rewind the time back to 2014. Two young Dutch girls mysteriously disappeared in the Panama Forest. After the incidents, a few clues were slowly uncovered, but they only made the case even more confusing. People around the world tried to look for the truth, but until this day, the case still remains unsolved. 21-year-old Chris Kramers and 22-year-old Lizanne Froome both grew up in Amersfoort, Netherlands. Chris studied Cultural and Social Studies at Utrecht University, and Lizanne studied Applied Psychology at Section University. Even though they are from different universities, they worked at the same restaurant in Amersfoort, and that is how they met and became best friends. They moved to the same apartment shortly afterward. Lizanne is about 6 feet and played for the school's volleyball team. Chris is not as tall as Lizanne. She is around 5'5". They both were learning Spanish at the time, and they both enjoyed traveling, so they decided to plan to study abroad. Panama quickly became their ideal country to go due to its geographic location and its primary language, which is Spanish. They wanted to travel around Panama to reward themselves for completing college. They also wanted to teach English at the local school, but mainly they wanted to learn Spanish. Chris and Lizanne got their suitcases ready and were super excited and ready for this 6 weeks trip to Panama. Chris and Lizanne departed from Netherlands and landed in Panama. They went to the beach in northwest of Panama and had a mini vacation there. They enjoyed the scenery, the beach, and the food, and they even met a couple of new friends. After 2 weeks, March 29th, they left the beach and headed west to a small town named Bukate. They quickly found a hostel and stayed there. Miriam Gira, the owner of the hostel, greeted the girls with great hospitality. The reason why Chris and Lizanne chose Bukate is because they applied to teach English at a local school here. But when they went to the school to check in, they quickly realized the school had already started. The school said they sent an email to the girls but did not obtain a response, so they thought the girls are not coming anymore. Maybe because the girls were enjoying their time at the beach and forgot to check their email. Therefore, they had missed the volunteer opportunity. Chris and Lizanne already booked the return date, so they had to stay in Panama for another 4 weeks. Miriam knew the girls wanted to learn Spanish, so she introduced them to a local language school. Besides studying, Chris and Lizanne wanted to travel and visit some local attractions, so the school has suggested some tourist spots for them to visit. Due to the complex terrains of the tropical forest, it is extremely dangerous to enter the forest by themselves without any local guide. Therefore, they hired a local guide, Feliciano Gonzalez, and booked a 3-day hike with him starting on April 2nd. Chris and Lizanne checked in at the hostel on March 29th and will be going on a 3-day hike with Feliciano on April 2nd. On April 1st, the girls had no plans and didn't want to stay indoor because the weather was too nice. They decided to challenge a hiking trail, Sendero El Pianista. It is located northeast of Bukate, and the trail is around 5 miles, so they can definitely finish in 1 day and go on the hike with Feliciano the next day. The girls believe they will be able to experience the tropical rainforest and see different waterfalls. After knowing the girls are heading to the hiking trail alone, Miriam tried to warn them on how dangerous the forest could be without a guide, especially for them who had absolute no experience with the terrain. But the girl insisted on going, since the trail is pretty popular among the tourists, so they can just follow the other hikers along the trail. Miriam was still somewhat worried and decided to give them a husky, Azul. Azul had been trained before, and he knew the road to return to the hostel, so Miriam thought he could provide us some help if the girls ever needed it. Chris and Lizanne along with Azul, headed to Sendero El Pianista on April 1st. Fast forward to the night on April 1st. Miriam saw Azul had returned to the hostel by himself, but did not see Chris and Lizane. She was really worried, and even searched for the girls around the complex for the entire night. The next day, on April 2nd, both the teacher from the language school and the local guide, Feliciano Gonzalez, came to the hostel and asked Miriam if she had seen the girls. Miriam told them that they had not returned since the previous night. They were confused and thought maybe the girls had returned to the Netherlands. They went to their room but saw all their suitcases and personal belongings, which means that they haven't left yet. After another day, the girls were still missing, and that was when Feliciano went to the local police and reported about the missing girls. The search team was quickly assembled and started to search for the two missing girls. They even had helicopters flying around the mountains to look for any trace of them. After a few days of searching, nothing was found. The parents of the two girls arrived in Panama and joined the search team on April 6. They searched for another 10 days, but still, nothing was found. The two families even offered $30,000 for anyone who can provide any information, but they never got anything. On June 17th, the case finally progressed. A local Nagabi woman presented a backpack to the police, claiming that she had discovered it while doing some farm work on the riverbanks of Alto Romero. The place is about 12 hours away from where the two disappeared. The Nagabi woman also said that the backpack was not there on the previous day, since she worked there every day and did not see it. The forensics later confirmed that it was Lizane's backpack, which she carried and went on hiking with. The backpack contained 2 pairs of sunglasses, $83 in cash, Lizane's passport, a can of water bottle, a Canon PowerShot SX270 camera, 2 bras, a medical insurance card with Chris's name on it, Lizane's Samsung Galaxy S3, and Chris's iPhone 4. Everything is intact and undamaged. Chris's phone is an iPhone 4, while Lizane's phone is a Samsung Galaxy S3. Investigators checked the phone records and found that both of them made emergency calls. The first call was made by Chris's phone at 4:39 p.m. shortly after the start of the hike, followed by Lizane's phone at 4:51 p.m. However, all the calls made by the two were not connected due to the poor reception, except for a call to 911 on April 3rd, but the call lost signal about 1 second after the call was connected. At 5 a.m. on April 5th, Lizane's phone ran out of battery and has not been used since. Chris's phone did not make any more calls, but she briefly turned on her phone several times to search for signals. After April 6, Chris's phone was repeatedly entered with the wrong password, and the user has never been able to enter the correct password. In addition, between April 7th and 10th, Chris's phone has up to 77 emergency call records. The iPhone was turned on for the last time at 10:51 a.m. on April 11th and turned off at 11:56 a.m. about 1 hour later, and has not been turned on again since then. Surprisingly, the SD card was not damaged, and the police quickly accessed the photos and tried to see what really happened to the girls. As you can see in this picture, the trail was behind Lizane. The girls were really excited to go on the hike. Lizane's camera was active on April 1st. The photo shows the two walking on the trail with a panoramic view of the rainforest. In this photo, Chris was leaving the trail and heading for the jungle. The photo was taken at 1:30 p.m., 2 hours before their first call for help. This photo was taken at 1:54 p.m. They started to walk deep into the woods. Since then, Lizane's camera was not used again until April 8th. The user took 90 photos at the rate of 1 photo every 2 minutes between 1 to 4 in the morning. And these photos are a bit strange. And they had everyone thinking, why did the girls take these pictures? The location was unrecognizable, but it is definitely located somewhere deep in the jungle. And most of the photos were taken in the evening, with rain drizzling. Several photos showed that the two may be beside a river. One of the more clearly identifiable photos is the two ends of a branch tied with the red plastic sleeves and placed on a large rock. It seems like the girls were trying to use this to call for help. The vibrant red colors would definitely catch the rescue team's attention if they were flying in the air. And here's another photo, appeared to be the back of Chris's head. Investigators had not been able to confirm the meaning of these photos or the purpose of taking them. After the backpack was found, investigators then launched a second search along the Culebra River, a branch from the Panama Canal. 2 days later, closer to where the backpack was found, a hiking boot with the foot still inside and the pelvis were found behind a tree. Some body parts were found on the west side of the bank. 2 Nagabi women from the rescue team found Chris's denim shorts neatly folded and placed on the rock on the east side of the bank, and was only a few miles away from where Lizane's backpack was found. Then in a short period of time, as many as 33 human body parts scattered on the riverbank were discovered, but no human skulls nor human trunks were found. After a DNA comparison, the Dutch forensics unit confirmed that the remains belonged to Chris and Lizane. Of the 33 bones, 28 came from Lizane's left leg. The boots were a product of a Dutch company, and Lizane's foot was still in the boot. The foot appeared to decompose naturally since there were no bite marks from the animals. And the pelvis belongs to Chris. The forensics report also mentioned that Chris's pelvis seems to have been bleached. After running the lab result, there were phosphate residuals on the pelvis. Maybe someone is trying to speed up the corpse decomposition. After learning the news, the family were devastated. And on June 20th, they publicly thanked everyone who participated in the search for their daughters, and they believed their daughters were no longer alive. In August, the police found more body parts in the forest. But the weird thing is, these body parts just started to decompose. The level of decomposition did not match the previous body parts. But some experts said, this could be affected by the humidity, temperature, and the mineral constituents of the rainforest. In November, Panama police announced the final result for this case. Chris and Lizane had an accident and died during their hike, and they will close the case and will not investigate further. And of course, this result did not convince a lot of people. They believe this is definitely not an accident. There is no doubt that Chris and Lizane were lost in the mountains. But what happened to them during the 10 days? Why did Azul leave them behind and got home unharmed? Who was the person trying to unlock Chris's phone? Some people believe that during the hike, they lost their body temperature at night and died of starvation, and their bodies were dismembered by wild animals. The red flags tied to the branches were used to record the route they traveled. Chris may have had an accident and lost her consciousness, and Lizane tries to use her phone but she doesn't know the password. Remember the picture of the branch with red rags around it? Some people did some editing and saw there were ropes behind the rock, and quickly realized the girls were near a bridge made with 3 ropes when they took the picture. The bridge was extremely dangerous, so some people thought one of the girls fell and hurt herself, so the other one made this SOS sign. According to the phone records, they attempted to call for help at 4:39 p.m. And when the night fell, it was pitch dark. That's why they tried to use the flash to see their surroundings. Therefore, these pictures were taken. And if you zoom in on this picture, you can see the letter S carved on the rock. Maybe the girls were trying to carve SOS to call for help. And maybe it was Chris who had an accident and hit her head. That's why she asked Lizane to take a picture of the back of her head to see if there were any cuts. Both of them were dressed lightly and did not carry any climbing equipment and did not prepare any overnight supplies. Why did they deviate from the main road into the jungle? Why did Lizane take a picture of the back of Chris's head? Why and how did the backpack reach the farm not too far from the local residence? Maybe it was washed downstream by the river. But the forensic clearly stated that the backpack and its contents were not soaked and everything was intact. And the investigators also found that the pelvic bones showed signs of bleaching, which could not have been the work of the wild animals. Others believe that they may have been kidnapped and killed by a local gang. The marks carved on the rocks are the secret codes for the gang. The taxi driver who drove the girls to the trail was drowned in the lake several months after the incident. His statement was different from the physical evidence. The restored photos showed that Chris and Lizane entered the mountain around 11 a.m. at the latest, a full 3 hours earlier than what the driver said. Maybe he was trying to cover up a crime, but this also doesn't make sense. Since the gang needed to destroy the corpse, why did they discard the corpse near the first batch of physical evidence? Why did they leave the expensive and easy to track physical evidence such as phones and camera and discard them in the place easy to find? They could have taken them away and destroyed them completely. Why were they trying to make the whole thing look like an accident? Remember the dog Azul? According to Miriam, the dog returned to the hostel at night. But when we went back and looked at all the pictures taken on April 1st, not a single picture where Azul was spotted. Maybe he never went with the girls? If so, why would Miriam lie about it? Chris and Lizane took a total of 30 pictures on April 1st, and the last picture had the name of Image 508. They did not use the camera until April 8th, and the starting picture had the name of Image 510. What happened to Image 509? The police tried to restore the missing picture, but were unable to do so. Usually, you are able to restore deleted pictures if the pictures were deleted using the device. But if you took the SD card out and delete the picture using a computer, it will be almost impossible to restore it. So what does this mean? Maybe someone purposely deleted Image 509 using a computer. As you can see, there were 2 bras found in the backpack, and according to the picture, the girls were wearing them during the day. But why did they take it off? Maybe they went swimming. In 2019, Man magazine published a picture stating that the picture was taken on April 1st, 2014, and the location was Caldera Hot Spring. In the picture, Chris and Lizane were in a hot spring with 2 other men. Later on, the men were identified as Osman Valenzuela and Jose Manuel Murguez, but oddly enough, they both died within the next year. What if the picture is the missing Image 509? If so, Chris and Lizane definitely did not die from an accident. Someone deliberately murdered the 2 girls. These questions still remain unanswered for 6 years. The only thing that is certain is that the 2 girls will never come back. And some people even went back to Bacate and walked through the entire trail and found the exact same spot where Chris took this picture. So what happened to Chris and Lizane? Did they have an accident? Or were they kidnapped and murdered? Maybe we will never find out.